What's up guys, Mitchell Watts with Town & Country TV, and today I am super excited to share 10 things that I absolutely love about my 2021 Ford GT Carbon Series. I've just got to let you know that we just launched our full build giveaway, and yes, you heard that correctly. TC Customs is giving away a full build, and we're going to even install it on the vehicle of your choice at no cost to you. The best part is entering is 100% free. All you have to do is follow TC Customs_com and Mitchell S. Watts on Instagram. Once you've done that, you go to tccustoms.com/giveaway, which is linked down below, and then just fill out the form and let us know that you've entered. Now that alone is going to get you 40 entries, but if you want extra, you need to head over to the merchandise tab on TC Customs and pick yourself up a shirt or two. And for every $1 you spend, gets you one extra entry into the giveaway. Now we've made this as simple as possible, so follow the link down below to enter now. In full disclosure, I will tell you, I said 10 things. It might be more, it might be less. These are just really the things that I love about the Ford GT. It's just using a nice round number is good for YouTube titles and thumbnails. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the body. That is my very first thing, and these are in no particular order. But one thing that I love about this version of the Ford GT, this is a Carbon Series Ford GT. What does that mean? Well, all of your Ford GTs are made completely out of carbon fiber. The Carbon Series takes it to another level. Come on in, I'm gonna show you what I mean. See these racing stripes? Those are not actually racing stripes. That is the bare carbon that is exposed on the vehicle. So the way that the Carbon Series works is, they build the car, all of the carbon fiber, then they tape off the vehicle. And what they do is they put tape over these stripes, they paint the car itself, and then they take the stripes off, and then they clear coat over everything. So what I love about this is not a tape stripe, this is not a painted stripe. The stripes are an absence of paint, and I think that is so cool, and it actually shows the craftsmanship that Ford went through when they are building these Ford GTs, and the carbon fiber in this thing is absolutely beautiful. Now, since we're still on the topic of the body of the vehicle, let's talk about the aerodynamics. So this wing in the back here, this is a hydraulically actuated rear wing, rear spoiler, whatever you want to call it. What happens is, depending on what you're doing in the vehicle, the spoiler can go up and down, and it can also rotate forward to act as an air brake. And the fact that you can do this in a Ford vehicle, I never thought I would see it. But man, Ford's engineering team, they've done a very, very good job, and I absolutely love the way that this spoiler looks, especially in the down position. However, there is a serious flaw with this spoiler, and if you want to see what that is, you need to go watch the 10 things that I hate about my Ford GT. I'll have that linked up above if you want to go check that out. But there is a serious flaw that I'm not going to tell you in this video. You have to go watch the other one to find out what that is. The next thing that I love about this car actually isn't a Ford feature, but it is something that I love, and so I'm going to talk about it anyways. The color that we chose when we spec'd out this vehicle, and by the way, whoever you are at Ford Motor Company that allowed us and chose us to be allocated this vehicle brand new, we sincerely thank you very, very much. I know for a fact you watch our channel, and we're very, very grateful for you guys for choosing us to buy this car. Fun fact, there's only 1,350 of these that will ever be made. Very, very low production numbers from 2017 to 2022. Do that math, not very many cars. Anyways, liquid gray is the color that we selected for this particular vehicle. The liquid gray is one of my favorite colors. Kind of looks like carbonized gray. If you've seen an F-150 in carbonized gray before, very similar in color. However, what we wanted to do was make this thing look like the Batmobile. I don't know if you've seen that from The Dark Knight. There's a Lamborghini Murcielago that I never will forget that particular scene in the video. I know it's not the same color, I know it's not the same car, but I absolutely love the way that feels, and I just wanted this car to look like the Batmobile. And so when we spec'd out the car, we knew we wanted this color, and we knew we wanted to do a satin or a matte paint protection film to cover the entire vehicle. So what you're looking at here is the actual color of the vehicle. That is the true color, but this satin paint protection film actually takes the gloss out of the paint. And I'm gonna see if I can crack or pop the hood if you will, to see if I can show you a nice, good part of the paint that is not protected, so that way you can kind of compare the two side by side. And side notes, huge shout out to CGS Vinyl, who actually did the paint protection film for us. You can probably see it, maybe not so much, but you can actually see where the paint protection film is not there. It's just the exact same color. It's just you have gloss versus non-gloss. So once again, a huge shout out to CGS for doing a phenomenal job on the paint protection film on this car. My next favorite feature on the Ford GT is going to be the transmission. This thing has a 7-speed dual clutch Tremec. I think it's a Tremec. A 7-speed dual clutch transmission though, I do know that. And the cool thing is you've got these really nice aluminum paddle shifters, and there's a couple of different purposes here. Now I've got it in track mode, as you can see by the T, and you'll also see there's an LC on the screen. That stands for launch control. Because of that fancy transmission and the paddle shifters, all you have to do is put your hands on both of the paddle shifters at the exact same time, put left foot on the brake, your right foot on the gas, and basically all you have to do is let go of the brake and your paddle shifters, and you are launching this thing out. Ford did a really good job with this transmission. I absolutely love it. It's even comfortable riding it around in town. Now the height of the vehicle, not as comfortable as the transmission is. The next thing that I love about the Ford GT is actually going to be the gas tank itself. Maybe not necessarily the gas tank, but the actual gas nozzle. So as you can see, I've got the vehicle locked tight, and guess what? This is your gas cap. This is where it is. There's no way to access it and push it open or pull it, pry it, whatever you want to. But if you hit the unlock button, now it unlocks the gas tank as well. So that way you don't have to worry about some nefarious person doing some nefarious things and putting sugar in your tank, because trust me, the engine replacement on this thing is not cheap. So I think it's nice that Ford gives you the ability to lock the gas tank in addition to the doors. Next up, let's talk about valuations. So we were lucky enough, as I've already mentioned to you, to be selected by Ford Motor Company to purchase this thing brand new. I believe the MSRP was in the mid 600,000, and although that is a ton of money, no matter how you slice it, it is something that we're very grateful for, because if you have to buy one of these things on the pre-owned side, the supply versus demand of the vehicle is actually causing these things to trade for, anywhere from well over $1 million. There's a couple of examples on Auto Trader right now for 1.4, and then there was another one for $1.6 million. And so if that is the case, and that is the situation on the rising value of the vehicle, we don't ever plan on selling this thing. Who knows what the future holds, but it is nice to know that this has kind of turned into a built-in investment, if you will, at the exact same time. So it feels weird talking about valuations that big, this large, because I never thought I'd have a vehicle of this caliber before, but once again, just very grateful that it turned into being an automatic investment, even though we don't have any plans on selling it ever, but definitely not in the near term. One of my favorite features of all time on the Ford GT is going to be the suspension. There's a lot of really cool things that are going on here, but I do love the fact that they give you a comfort mode if you're going to be driving long distances on the interstate. But there's also different drive modes, and those drive modes actually control the ride height of a vehicle. So I'm currently sitting in normal mode, and as you'll notice, that wing is down in the back. But if I decide I'm going to put it into track mode, you hit the OK to confirm it, and guess what happens? The entire vehicle slams down on the ground, the wing goes up. I think this thing is absolutely epic. Now, I will tell you though, there is one downside to this feature is, let's say you decide you want to drive it in track mode on the road. The problem is the only way to get it back to the normal ride height, you have to be in park. So if you happen to be riding around in this particular mode and you run into a pothole, you can't last minute change your drive mode. You actually have to be in park. So you pretty much 100% of the time need to be riding in the normal mode when you're driving down the interstate. Basically, track mode is really designed for the track and track only. Now, I will tell you though, you can even go even further. If you need a little bit of extra clearance, you can hit this button located right here, and yeah, you can make this thing dance if you want to. It's not too bad, is it? make it dance. Next up, let's talk about the design choice that Ford made. Now, this is a mid-engine rear-wheel drive vehicle. You'll notice you've got some fans up here to keep the motor cool and things like that, but this is really what I love as far as the design choice. You've got these massive flying buttresses that allows air to come in here for the engine itself. The air comes in through the intercooler, it routes up through this flying buttress and then down back into the motor. It looks amazing, as you can see all the way through here. To me, that is one of the most beautiful design choices that Ford could have possibly done. Now, because of this design, you've actually got that motor behind your head, and that leads me to my next thing. The driving experience in this car is nothing like I've ever seen before. Now, we were lucky enough to have a Ford GT, the 2005, 2006 era, if you remember that. We actually had a heritage version of that. That car was cool because it was a 5.4 supercharged V8. Sounded awesome. You had that big V8 behind your head, and it was raw. It was analog. Everything was just, that's kind of how you felt when you drove that car. And I'm not going to get into the engine itself, but having that motor right behind your head and hearing those turbos is an experience like you've never even had. In fact, even when you cut the car off, it makes this cool sound where it sounds like a jet engine that's idling back down, turning off. It's the most incredible, visceral sound you've ever heard. Next up, I want to talk about safety. Ford Motor Company designed this vehicle to win at the 24-hour Le Mans, and they actually did that their very first year out with the Ford GT program. However, if you're going to have a car that's this low, this fast, this crazy, you need to make sure that you've got safety gear, not just for the race car version, but also for the consumers. So let's take a look on the inside and show you what I mean. Now, I've got to kind of get I'm 6'3", so I've kind of got to squat. I'm on my knees right now. That didn't sound right, but I'm on my knees and I'm going to squat down so I can show you what's going on here. Now, the car itself, every one of the Ford GTs has a titanium roll cage that is built into the A-pillar to the roofline and then also into the back. Now, this is a carbon fiber monocoque, but it still has titanium roll cages inside of every Ford GT that is all hidden underneath this Alcantara roofline and also A-pillar. This is not one of my favorites, but it's very, very close, and that is the ownership experience of the Ford GT. Now, if you did not know, you get selected to purchase a Ford GT, and Ford actually has a concierge that is at your beck and call for this particular vehicle. And it's not just before the sale, it's actually after the sale as well. What you may not realize is not every Ford dealership is a Ford GT servicing and selling dealership. There's very specific Ford dealerships that are available to help you on that regard. Now, keep in mind that if you get selected, they reach out to you and they walk you through that entire process of ordering the vehicle. They have this really nice carbon fiber latch system where you open it up, you can see the different paint chips. You can see the different wheels that are available. They do a really good job of making this ownership experience something that Ford has never done before. So the Ford GT concierge, you guys have my hats off to you. And they even take care of you, even if you need an oil change, call them up. They will come pick the vehicle up, do the oil change, and bring the vehicle back to your door. You don't have to put a single mile on it. They'll trailer it in an enclosed trailer for you, and I think that is absolutely epic that Ford does that. This entire video, these options and these features that I love have not been in any particular order except for this one. This last one is by far my favorite. And for most of you guys that have never even seen a Ford GT in person, let alone had the opportunity to hear one or drive one, you're not going to understand my next decision. My favorite feature of all time for the Ford GT is the engine. Let's take a look. The Ford GT has a 3.5 V6 with twin turbos. Now, this motor makes a lot of horsepower, and depending on which year model you have of the Ford GT, there's two different power output levels. This one has the higher version of the output because it's got the larger intercoolers in the Ford GT. So you've got the more horsepower, the more torque. But what I love about this engine is that it is a V6, but it doesn't sound like a V6. It's a V6, but it doesn't drive like a V6.
It's cool. it's amazing how fast you can get to 30 miles an hour.
It's a V6, and it doesn't have the fuel economy of a V6. All of the other competitors, by the way, that's one of our negative things. You want to make sure you watch that video. The fuel economy on this thing is absolutely atrocious. But you don't buy this car for fuel economy. You buy this car for that overall experience. This V6 has allowed for that teardrop shape and those flying buttresses that we've already talked about. I can guarantee you that if you've never heard of a Ford GT, never knew what kind of motor it was in it, I could take you for a ride in this vehicle and you would sit there and tell me, what kind of motor is in this thing? Because every single person that I've cranked it up, let them hear it, and I tell them, oh yeah, but it's just a V6. Their answer every single time is, what? So, Josh, the cameraman, doesn't know this yet, but let's go take it for a ride so you can experience what I'm talking about. All right, let's take this thing for a spin. Hold the camera still, Josh, come on. See if you can hold the camera still. And there you have it. Those are my 10 things, plus or minus a lot. I quit counting, but there's the things that I love about my Ford GT. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully it didn't come off cocky or anything like that. We're just super humbled that one, Ford chose us to have this car, two, that you guys are along for this ride with us and we're able to share it with you. And man, just thank you. Thank you very, very much, because if it wasn't for you guys, none of this would be possible. So we're super, super grateful for you watching this video, and we're super grateful for that thumbs up button that you're gonna click down below. So make sure that you do that. If you haven't already done so, leave some comments down below and make sure you are subscribed to the channel with that bell notification turned on so you don't miss a single video. Peace.